If what you want is real, relevant hunting, you are in the right place. With moderator Josh Miller, owner of Triple Point Outdoors, co-hosts Kevin Cook, owner of the Outdoor Pro Shop, and Brian Keitlinger, athlete and creator of Left in the Field Outdoors. Welcome to the Reinvent the Hunt podcast.
All right, well, welcome everybody to the Reinvent the Hunt podcast. I'm Josh Miller from Triple Point Outdoors. It is episode 12 already. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching, like, share, and of course, subscribe. Give us a review when you can. Tonight's episode is going to be a lot of fun. We're talking to Brian Keitlinger and his son Sam out of Pennsylvania. And Sam, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on here on the podcast. Kind of a special episode to have Brian on with his son. We're going to talk some turkey hunting. Turkey's been giving me, of course, as per usual, more problems in Ohio than I can count. Couple that with the weather, and I've just been busy too. But I need to get back out hopefully this weekend and try to get on some. They've just been real weird for me here in Ohio, and every year I keep saying like it's going to become easier, and it never does because they're just a weird bird to me. So I can't wait to hear your story because there's been a lot happening this week for you guys. So let's just rock it out here and get started.
That sounds good. This is just our first week, so I mean Saturday was the opener for us. Now we do have a special youth hunt the Saturday before for everyone who has a junior license tag or even a mentor tag. That's kind of actually where he started when he was 8. But our season's actually really late this year. We're usually starting, youth season the 3rd Saturday, the regular season the 4th Saturday, but because of the way the calendar stacks up, I mean, we're like in the first week of May. The foliage is out because it's been too warm and everything. So it was a little bit different this year. He just got back from his first year of college on Friday night, and I'd been scouting turkeys up at the property and everything, and said, I put some spy point cameras out and had a pretty good idea what was going on and where. And it's the birds seem to roost in the front part of our property. Like literally you could walk 10 yards in on the logging road and bust birds out all over the place. Okay. Sometimes, and some years we have a ton of birds, some years we have a decent, and some years we're like very scarce. This year was, I guess, an average year, but you would have thought we had 1 million birds on Saturday because it was a little bit humid in the low 60s, but we got up there and there were birds gobbling like literally everywhere across the road and next property, and they were just hammering. So yeah, it's just the first week, and I don't get too worked up about stuff and probably till the middle, but I'm sitting there going, man, it's tomorrow's May 10th. We're a good chunk into it, but it's still just the first week. It just seems kind of crazy.
So Sam, is your is your love of turkey hunting the same as deer, or what kind of got you into it and why?
I would say my deer hunting interest is probably more than turkey, but for me, if there's something to hunt around here, I'm out in the woods. That's just how it's always been. Like you name it, deer, turkey, everything. Like there'd be I play college soccer, so during soccer season, we'd have games in the middle of the day. My parents would come to my games, and the second my game would be done, I'd rip my jersey off, jump in the car, drive as quick as I could home so I could hunt like the last 2 or 3 hours of daylight.
I get it.
But I would say I went out every single year for turkey hunting that I can remember. I love turkey hunting. I remember even before I could hunt, I would go out with my dad. I think it must have been either
you were 3.
Yeah, I was 3.
That's cool.
And my dad took me out with another kid, and I got to sit in his lap and watch a kid he was mentoring actually shoot his first turkey. And I still remember that like it was yesterday.
Isn't it crazy how you growing up, you remember that stuff?
Yeah, we
it's crazy.
Had the lady who babysat our kids, I had all her kids in class, and their youngest son was maybe 12. And I said, hey, we'll do a little swap. I said, I'll give you my daughter Abby, because she was just an infant then because my wife was working. I said, I'll take Sam with us. I said, I'll wait till the kids wake up, then I'll come get Riley was his name. I'll come get Riley. I'll take Sam with us. No joke. I carried him on my back. We walked down this big old logging road down to a spot. We got along this hillside. I think I called 3 times and a bird just hammered right back. And with it, literally within 5 minutes, like I sat down, he sat in my lap. I put the kid out in front of us. The bird came in to maybe 10 yards, and his heart was just going 100 miles an hour, just sitting on my lap. And the junior hunter just smashed that turkey. And that was his first turkey, but Sam got to, see the whole thing. I did catch a little bit of flack for that. My wife wasn't too happy with me. I was like, he's not hunting. He's just sitting. He's just sitting with me. But
I get it.
and I think from that point in time, he just really liked, like doing that. I mean, turkey season is a great time to get kids out because it's not usually cold. Deer are usually all over the place. They're dropping fawns. We have to be done by noon in Pennsylvania, up until the halfway point of the season, and we can hunt all day. But a lot of times you have success between 9 and 11 because the birds, the hens have gone to nest. Yeah. And so you can get lucky and call in some younger, call in some birds. But when I couldn't take him, I would take Riley out and mentor hunt with him. I think we went 4 years in a row, and every year I had him out. He killed a bird. That's so awesome. we just had a great time. But that was for me. That was a super memorable hunt. I wasn't hunting, but we got to share that stuff together. So
it's kind of neat to.
And when I was 16, I actually got to go out with Riley. Riley actually sat with me. I think it was for like my last year of junior hunting in PA. I actually got to go out and sit with Riley in some of the same spots where my dad had taken him out in the past. So that was kind of cool. It came full circle, which was cool.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, it's really cool to have those memories because then the older you get, Sam, I know your dad and I probably share the same exact sentiment. I vividly remember I was on the farm the other day walking it where I grew up, and I remember my grandfather cutting firewood literally where I was, and he's no longer with us anymore. But it was like it was yesterday, man. I'll tell you, it was like yesterday, and those memories flood back, and that's what you're always going to have. So I think your dad and I are exactly parallel on that. That part of hunting is the excitement of it, and then part of it is the nostalgia of a memory that you're going to have the rest of your life. And so I think the more you can get kids into it, like at your age, younger ages even, get them hooked, and that first experience of like hearing a gobbler behind you just light up the woods, and that just hangs with you,
And it's funny. Some of my teammates are international kids, so they come from overseas and places where really they've never seen deer before. They've never seen turkeys. So I'll be in the locker room talking hunting with some of my buddies, and they'll come over and be like, "What are you talking about?" So I'll have to like,
what the heck is that?
Explain to them like equipment and animals, and I'll show them pictures, and their faces are like, "What? That's around here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just go out in the woods."
Yeah, I have a funny story for you too to throw in here related to that. There's a high school girl was talking to her daughter today, and she was talking about how her family likes to go into town at this open, farm type thing on weekends and get free range meat, and I was describing like the free range meat we get, and dragging this deer carcass in and getting it processed and so forth and cutting it up. And she almost was like disturbed by it. And I thought, man, there is such a disconnect in this world right now with hunters and meat and sources of meat. And people think, Brian, it's plastic and it's in the store and it's nice and it's cut. The cut's there for me and it's clean. It's not bloody. But then you got to they don't understand how it gets there. There's such a disconnect.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, that we when we got back, I sent him back and I hunted the rest of Saturday morning to probably about 11. We'll talk about the hunt here in a bit, but he helped me clean the bird. We put it right away in a crock pot and we slow cooked it. And then we, I made him do a lot of the stuff. My wife added a bunch of stuff in there, but throwing turkey breasts in the crock pot and adding stuff, and then we shredded it all up and had pulled turkey sandwiches. The bird I shot this morning, we just had pulled turkey sandwiches. I shot it this morning at 6:45. I got to be at work at 7:20. I busted home, left a text on his phone, hey, clean this bird in the garage, throw it in a crock pot. And, when I got home from my soccer game tonight, dinner was ready. So, I mean, it's not just talking, we're talking life skills here, and
Absolutely.
Caring for what we get and how to cook it, and making sure that it's clean, it's prepared right, and everything else. And so again, hunt, but he always helps me skin and quarter the deer out. We do that all here at our house. Some of the times we'll process a little bit of our own. A lot of times we'll take it to a shop, but it's nice. We can sit and chat and have a good time when we're doing some stuff like that. And whether it's deer, turkey, other stuff. I mean, those are just other added memories you add to it. So
Absolutely, for sure. And Sam hit the nail on the head when he's talking about talking to other kids or people that aren't around or exposed to it. We always talk about them being thunder chickens, and I'll say that to somebody that kind of look at me like, what? But it's like, yeah, it's a thunder chicken. Hi, we call them thunder chickens. And then of course I was introduced in South Africa to the lightning chicken, which of course, if you don't know, is the ostrich, and they're it's just fun because you're talking around people and there's that common hunting camaraderie, even though you're hunting completely different species and completely different continents, it's still the same idea. And that's what makes it fun.
Yep, that is for sure.
So I got to hear a story of how this happened this past week, because I know Sam got one, and then Brian, I saw yours. So how did these hunts all happen?
Well, want me to go first, Ed?
Well, like I said, I did a little bit of pre-scouting, on our property. We got 12 acres, and the birds tend to have a tendency of just roosting within. We got some bigger trees, some hemlocks, some older trees, we got a lot of beech trees, and so you got to be real careful. So I set up some trail cameras, and
you set up about 100 trail cams, right? Yeah, about 100.
Yeah,
wow. You can't walk 20 square feet in those woods without running into like a solar panel or a
that's like saw you that time, saw you again.
Yeah, funny story aside. The one time I went in early to wake him up. I think it was a good deer hunt. Was it deer hunting or Sam?
Oh Lord, here we go. Back.
Yeah, I walked in and I kind of shook him and said, Sam, you got to wake up. And I don't know what he was doing or dreaming, but he started screaming and said, don't hurt me, like he was like having night terrors or whatever. But this is just maybe 3-4 years ago, and I was sitting there like, I'm like, you're gonna wake the whole house up, but you gotta quiet down. But we get up, have some breakfast, and try to get in the woods before we try to get up there to stand and listen to see how far the birds are in or wherever. And I don't know, we got outside, I'm like, man, it's getting light pretty good. And our property from our house is half a mile up the road. We got up there, and he's loading his gun, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, man, I can't get these shells in my gun. Here I had my 28 gauge, and I had 20 gauge shells.
Oh, man.
So I said, you sit here and listen to the turkeys. I got to run home. So I jumped in the car, ran home. Thankfully, I didn't wake my wife up. Got my 28 gauge shells, came back up, and we got ready. And, there were literally birds just gobbling everywhere. But that's on cool. Our property, they were a little bit deeper. And so I knew I had a logging road cut in there just last year, and they were using that logging road pretty religiously. And I said, we're going to go in literally 15 yards, 20 yards, and you're going to sit on the low side. I'll sit on the high side. So a lot of times I like to roost in the low side, then walk up to hit the logging road. And we got in there, and seriously, we had 6 birds gobbling. And we just kind of hung tight and were quiet for a while. And I kept telling him, they're still in the tree. They're still in the tree. I mean, it was close enough we could talk. We're probably about 10, 12 yards apart. At one point in time, the birds were calling, like, dude, put your phone away. Just get ready, put your phone away. And
that phone will burn you. I've been there. That phone, they burn you.
Yeah. And like I said, you can tell when they hit the ground, because the gobbling just sounds different. And I said, I think they're on their way in. And within a few minutes, Sam, I'll let you pick up, the rest of the story, because I'm videotaping. There's a little hill in front of where I'm videotaping. Sam, go ahead.
He said we're 12 or so yards apart, and I'm on the right side of the logging road, so I have like a good clear view. He kind of has like a hill in front of him that's like beside the logging road, so I have a clear view down straight, like past the logging road for about probably like 20 or 30 so yards. And like he said, you could hear the turkeys once they hit the ground, like their calls sound different. So he could tell, and he told me like, they're coming. So get your gun up. And my back's up against a tree, my foot's against a log, so I have like my gun resting on my knee.
Yep.
Eventually, it was probably like 10 or so minutes later, around probably like 6:30ish. I could see him coming from my right down the hill, and they had walked behind a tree in front of me about 20, 25 yards. He's behind me going like, get your gun up, get your gun up. But there's two turkeys. There's one that goes behind the tree and one that's facing me. And the one moves out in front of the tree and one goes behind the tree. So I can't get my gun up and swing right.
Mm-hmm.
And they just start milling around in front of us for it was probably a good minute or two. He keeps calling, drumming away. And eventually they turned around so I could raise my gun up and swing. And he's on my left going, shoot, shoot, shoot. So I just put the BB on the back one, squeeze the trigger, and yeah, the rest was done.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and the front bird was definitely a Jake. The back bird, man, I honestly think he was a mature bird because his tail fan was mature. We pulled his beard off, and I think he had beard rot. I was real brown and broken off and stuff at the end. He had about, I don't know, half inch spurs. But that bird was strutting. I could just see the top of his tail fan from my vantage point. And I kept saying, when you get a chance, shoot the strutter. When you get a chance, shoot the strutter. And I was really hoping we could double up because we've never done that. But I really didn't have any opportunity at all. And I don't know. I really, didn't care. I was sitting there chuckling the whole time.
Yeah.
We had bought him a new shotgun last year.
We bought that like 2 or 3 years back.
Did we? But we bought a Gearson 12 gauge 3.5 inch. I didn't know if he'd want that. I played a little trick on him when he was probably about 10. And I gave him my Benelli with 3.5 inch turkey loads in it. And it just rocked him back, and I sat there and laughed the whole time. And
the worst part is he took a video of it, and he's a geography teacher. So I was in 6th grade at the time. A bunch of my friends were in the class. He pulls the video up on the whiteboard. And he's like,
"Oh yeah, that's what Dad's got to do.
This.
That's what Dad's got to do." Right there.
And so it's a video of me squeezing the trigger and falling over backwards. My friends still have the video to this day.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Your dad said, "You gotta learn today, son."
Yeah, oh my Lord.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, I bought him some TSS to use, and last year he went out a few times by himself. He saw birds all the time. And you remember that age, going up by yourself and just kind of learning as you go. And this time literally we weren't in the woods for, I don't know. I got pictures on the trail camera of us walking in at a marked time, and then we're coming out, and it's, I don't know, 6:35, 6:40. I mean,
it's crazy. Yeah, I saw the Spy Point video you got of you walking out with a bird, and that's just a cool setting of you guys walking out. Spy Point captures it on video, and that quick hunt, you never know how it's going to happen like that. I was actually out a couple weeks ago with my dad, and it was a phenomenal hunt because I got to sit there with my dad. He had coffee. He was actually with me. I had the bear persist. I was going to try to take one with the vertical bow, and he actually was just hanging out. And of course, I had a mouth diaphragm, and I think he had his box skull, if I remember right. But we had the 4 come in, and I didn't see him. They kind of came in quiet to my left, didn't gobble at all, just came in. And he said something to me. I think they were a little close because he said it. I think they heard him, but he said, "Shoot the son of a guns," except there's a little more explicatives put in there instead of son of a guns. But I put my release in the bow, and by the time I got that, they didn't like something. They took off and turned and left. But man, you never know with those stinking turkeys. They're either super quiet or loud as heck when they're coming in. And I'll see videos. You guys probably see it too online. You'll see these videos where these guys have these turkeys at 10 yards, and they're either humping a decoy or kicking the crap out of a decoy or bouncing on a decoy, and they're there for minutes doing it. And I never have turkeys do that. I don't know about you guys, but I never get to see turkeys do that.
We did have it once. I took him with my buddy to his property, who's a taxidermist. He actually uses a real live, not a real live, but an actual full mounted turkey.
Oh, really? For a decoy?
Yeah, okay. For a decoy. And we called a bunch in, and he's like, don't let those jakes attack the decoy.
don't let them hump my decoy.
Because the week prior we had taken my daughter out, and we used the same thing, and I have it on video. Those jakes circled that decoy like 12, and we're like, Abby, when everyone stop, shoot it. And they jumped up and were beating the decoy. I had never seen anything like that either until then. I don't know. I've killed most of my turkeys with without a decoy. The first time I took him when he was 8, we sat in a blind, and he took his little pocket video game. It was, the youth day and everything. It was a little bit chilly and everything. We took some food, and I had a hen decoy on a Jake decoy out, and we actually had a hen come in around our decoys, and I actually got out of the blind and scared her away, because I was like, I don't want her here and then possibly gobbler coming in and then her going to him. That's just bad news. And
He was
like,
camped out like right in front of our ground blind. Like if I would have jumped up and jumped out the window, I would have went
yeah,
smacked on the head.
he wasn't but 10 yards. Yeah,
That's crazy.
and, yeah.
Huh.
And about 9:30, I look up across the field and I'm like, Sam, you got to get up by the gun, because there's a gobbler. And before I even got done saying there's a gobbler, the bird was literally running as fast as he could. And I'm like, when he gets in here and he stops, you shoot him. And that, I mean, literally, it ran probably
Beeline.
150 yards beeline straight to that thing, and was just about ready to puff up. And he pulls the trigger, boom,
Gone.
done. And famous words is like, Dad, you should have let me bring my bow. I could have shot him with my bow.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And I was
that-
like, yeah,
yeah,
8 years old, shooting out of a blind, trying to shoot turkey with a bow. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got that. But I mean, so that was the first hunts. I mean, his
That's
hunts
incredible.
have been rather quick. I mean,
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time scouting and this and that and everything, which you have to do, and find strutting areas, this, that, and everything else. And they like particular roosting trees and everything. The bird I killed this morning, I was done by 6:45. And there were 3 mature gobblers out, and they must have gobbled 200 times. I mean,
Wow.
this morning they were just hammering, and at one point in time they were behind me like 10 yards, and I couldn't swing around but they were gobbling so close you could feel it like on the back of your,
You feel the
on the
thunder?
back of your neck.
Yeah, that's cool. That's so
Man.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know that I think in part, going back to my dad's son a couple weeks ago, I think too, I forgot to bring this up. I actually think because they're not used to seeing decoys in that area, like, I only put them out sometimes when I hunt. We had 2 out. I think we had a Jake and a hen out, if I remember right. And I think it kind of scared them. Like, I think I didn't want them. I didn't think they wanted decoys in there. They weren't used to it.
Well, around here, like the Jakes, literally, and anywhere, the Jakes will gang up and beat up on the toms.
Yep.
Like they will gang up and beat up on the toms. And I think sometimes, a lone hen has worked better for me than having
I would agree.
a Jake and a hen out and stuff like that. Like this
Yeah.
morning, I had a Jake and a hen out. They came out into the field and started coming in, and we're like, I don't think so. And then they cut up around, and I was like, man, they should come right to the decoy. I mean, they were hot. I mean, they were hammering, all over the place. And, came out and got into that field, looked at those decoys and closed the distance like 30 yards. And then all of a sudden started to cut up over the hip. I'm like, well, that's just not right. So they said, we do have a lot of Jakes around here. Yeah. Time and place, how hot they are,
right.
three bird, but like I said, I've never had, when I'm out, turkeys running in and flogging my, hen. And I did have one year, I had a hen come in and she was beating the crap out of my other hen.
That's something.
And
territorial.
Her whole ruckus of stuff brought in 3 Jakes, and then she chased the 3 Jakes off. I mean, it was nuts. She was the dominant hen in that area, but she was not happy that there was another hen there.
So she was like a Karen bird, huh? Just write an email or something. Yeah,
definitely a Karen bird. So.
It's fun though. It's all fun. It's kind of like when you're out deer hunting and your early season, you have your grunt call in your hand, and you see a deer or a buck and you grunt, kind of light, but you never know what they're going to do. Sometimes they'll take off because they're much more dominant buck in the air. They want to get their butt kicked, and sometimes they'll come in and see what's going on. So turkeys are weird to me, really weird.
Yeah, pea-sized brain, still outsmarting hunters every day.
Absolutely. I'm shocked at their sight and the reaction to noise. Like their sight, it's incredible how far. Like I've even tried like just casually seeing one out in the woods, maybe 100 yards away, pecking around. Just try to see how close I can walk toward it. Just walking, human normal clothes, walk around daily clothes, and they'll spot me immediately if I'm within 80 yards, and they're gone.
Yep,
it's incredible. So Sam, moving into just kind of hunting in general, I know you enjoy turkey hunting and deer hunting. I saw a deer in the wall behind you there. What do you think we should be doing for getting youth into the sport? How do you think kids your age and younger, specifically younger, view hunting, and what's the future going to look like?
Dang, that's a loaded question.
It is.
For me, like growing up, I obviously went to a school where I'd say probably, or most of my friend group actually like was out in the woods every year, actively hunted. Maybe not went out for like bow season, but went out for rifle season. And what it comes down to, I think, is just getting more people to realize that these things are out in our woods, number one. And number two, it's like a bonding experience with the people you go with, because it's a whole new different ball game than anything else that I've ever done. Like, yeah, I went fishing, and it's fishing is you can learn tricks, but there's like a finite amount of knowledge for fishing. But when you get into hunting, hunting is it's a massive book. The book just keeps growing. You can be the greatest hunter in the world, and then you can still get busted on any hunt on any given day.
Absolutely.
And that comes with the people you hunt with. Like I've went out hunting with my dad for years and years, and he's a genius when it comes to hunting, and we still get outsmarted. But what it comes down to is getting out in the woods with people you know. And I think the more that we get out with friends and family, the more the sport grows. Because let's say me and my buddy want to go out hunting some morning, and another one of my buddies hears about it. Maybe they'll tag along, and then we'll teach them some of the stuff we know. They'll learn it, then they'll go out and they'll teach some of their friends, and it becomes a sport of enjoyment. But what really gets people into the woods is getting out and sitting down and relaxing, because I like hunting just as much as the next person, but what really gets me out there is being able to like get out in the woods, sit in a tree stand, and just relax for a few hours, because my life's busy with full like 18 credit semester plus collegiate sport on top of that. So it's a time for me to get out in the woods and just put everything else out of the way and just sit there and relax and think about stuff, actually.
Well, I'll tell you, it's awesome to have you on here because, people, your dad and myself, our age, we've grown up in it. We like it. We do it. We kind of encourage, our own kids to do it. But I see a lot of podcasts and they're, middle-aged guys, maybe older guys talking hunting. And I don't see a lot of podcasts that are bringing on young people and bringing on, young guys, young girls that want to get into it and try to encourage the next generation, because we're fighting, I think this, we're going technology now, but we're fighting the iPads, we're fighting technology, we're fighting games, and I played video games. I like, as a kid, I liked it. I remember playing Madden and all that kind of stuff. We all did, in high school football, you're enjoying it, your buddies are playing it. But man, it just seems like, I feel like we're losing the generation a little bit. Like, I know, Brian, I don't know if you have any input on this, but man, I feel like we're slipping, the edge is slipping a little bit on getting more people into the sport. And I feel like I've run across more people that don't understand hunting or why I bow hunt or why I enjoy harvesting an animal and respect. Like, they're like, how do you respect it when you kill it? And how do you describe it to somebody? Brian, do you have any input on that?
I don't know. We're kind of spoiled where we live. We like live in an area where you do, and I know you taught for years and stuff, but we're blessed to live in a district where a large portion of people hunt. A good amount of the men in the schools hunt. And if they don't, a lot of them fish.
You guys have a deer day off? You get like a deer day, like
Yep.
Deer day off. We have a deer day.
Yep. Yeah. We have a deer day, and it's in our area, so like it's like a holiday. But you're right. There's a huge disconnect, with the whole idea of where does our food come from, and I think that's I think that's the big thing. Once people get over the idea, oh, you're killing, yeah, we're killing, but we're in charge of the resources. There's so many other worse things that will happen to them if we don't control them. But there is, the protein you get from it doesn't have any chemicals in it. It's free range. It tastes great. And it's, well, I don't know. a lot of people say it's cheaper. I don't know, once you add all your hunting equipment and everything
Yeah,
else
add
into it,
it all up. Yeah,
$80 a pound.
yeah, the
Yeah.
hidden costs.
But
yeah.
I mean, there is. I mean, kids are grossed out nowadays by the by the smallest thing. Dissecting a worm in science class, like it's disgusting. We used to go out and catch night crawlers.
I agree.
To go fishing the next day. We didn't buy them in a store. So yeah, I mean, I think part of that is, a huge thing, and with urban sprawl and everything else taken away from areas, and I don't know, again, it's stacked against us. But if we can do it the right way and keep people interested in women and children are one of the largest growing dynamics or groups that we have at this point in time. And COVID numbers shot up with hunters because people were like, well, I'm going to go hunt. And at least you do have some celebrities and people speak. Joe Rogan talks about hunting and stuff all the time now that he's gotten into it. I mean, even Facebook owner Zuckerberg, he's been talking about free range meat and hunting and things and stuff like that. Yeah, it's in our blood. People need to understand that's how our ancestors survived. I mean, that they didn't have a country fair or Sheets or Wawa or whatever to get stuff. I mean,
steak on a stick. Yeah,
it's so, and you're probably the same way. We used to, if we wanted meat, we didn't go to the grocery store. We went to the local farmer because the farmers would have meat and stuff in their shops. We got our dairy and stuff from there. So I think that, now that everything's in the supermarket packaged stuff for you, that's one of your disconnects.
Absolutely.
Right there. I mean, you could be walking into the farmer's place and, they're butchering a cow in, the next room, and you go, oh, you're butchering a cow. Nowadays you don't have, I mean, they never butcher, you don't see people slicing stuff or cutting stuff. It's all hidden and everything because you don't want to offend anybody or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it ebbs and flows with different things, but we are definitely on, I think, a downswing at this point in time. Hopefully it'll swing back up. And, got some great advocates with Ted Nugent and, all these other people who are, doing the stuff that they want to do to get the word out there. But, it's going to be, an acceptable way for a small portion of the people to continue to do it. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, with young people like yourself, Sam, Brian, all of us being advocates for it, and also, being able to convey that knowledge in a respectful way, I think it's important because I think so many people in today's world will just immediately shut their ears off. If you talk about anything controversial that isn't to their liking, they shut their ears off. And I think if you can approach it in a way that's more of a discussion rather than coming at them, you might get them to listen a little bit more. But I'll tell you, it gets frustrating, but having young people like yourself, Sam, that step in and you can tell you're an intelligent young man, and being able to convey that information as to why you hunt to people around you, you're going to earn that respect, I think. And I think once you're in that respect, and the ears open a little bit more, instead of just saying, hey, I'm a Neanderthal and we'll go out and kill some stuff, they aren't going to listen to that. But I think with your position of, coming at it of, hey, this is a camaraderie experience, we get meat from it, it's healthy protein, like Brian said, I think the tide could turn a little bit, not only say in our favor, but in the favor of humanity to continue the sport in the future, of the world.